members not on the subcommittee be permitted to sit with the subcommittee at today's hearing and ask questions. Without objection, so ordered. Finally, we are having the first hearing of our subcommittee on highways and transit. I particularly look forward to collaborating with my good friend, the ranking member, Mr. Davis, and with members on both sides of the aisle. Bear in mind that this committee has the reputation, this subcommittee and full committee have the reputation for being the most bipartisan in the Congress. There's a reason for that. We're dealing with what everybody wants. The enthusiasm about our subcommittee is clear. This subcommittee is larger than almost all of the full committees. Everybody wanted to get on board. I think what that does is signal the importance of the underlying subject matter. We, of course, are at the end, at least by 2020, of the FAST Act. The FAST Act was written by all of us. I was very pleased to work with Mr. Graves and with Mr. Schuster. I intend to run this subcommittee in the same bipartisan way. We need everybody, everybody's oar. The FAST Act was a particular achievement because it was the first full authorization act in 10 years. The chief problem for us, and perhaps remains a problem, is that we had to do a 6-year bill in 5 years because there was no increase in funding. We got a tall and very different order this time. Obviously, we have got to maintain what we've got, and we've not done a good job of doing that. But at the same time, we've got to modernize our entire system. And there are entirely new, at least for the subcommittee, issues. Climate change. You can't build roads or transit the way you used to with climate change bearing upon us. So we regard this as a transformational moment in our work as we try to figure out how do you move people and goods in what amounts to a new era for transportation and infrastructure than even a few years ago. Challenge is huge, and it means that infrastructure at every level and all modes of transportation have to be looked at anew, and not in the way we looked at it even at the last reauthorization. The importance of this bill, I suppose, is seen by the priority it has been given. It is H.R. 2, you know, there's H.R. 1 and there's H.R. 2. It means that this bill is important to the entire country. We will not be able to do a bill worthy of the American people if we think the way we did last time, or if we pit one mode against another. What we need now is adaptable infrastructure that has to work together, particularly to avoid congestion. This committee has to lead in accommodating one mode of transportation that will get people from one place to another, and they then may need another mode of transportation. So we will be depending not only on the usual modes of transportation, transit and autos, driving that is, but we will be looking closely at biking and expediting walking and even scooting, which I love to talk about, would love to do. Indeed, while this hearing is important, I am very interested in holding subcommittee hearings on these alternative modes of travel. Transit investment is a critical, and indeed more critical part than it was at the last reauthorization. Now, the Committee on Ways and Means has already begun meeting. Some on the other side of their aisle talked about something I thought we'd laid to rest some time ago, and that is that we ought to stop funding transit with federal dollars. Are they crazy? We need more transit. That's clean energy. I can't imagine it. And we're not going to go down that road again. It shut down this committee the last time it was raised. The highway trust, the future of the highway trust fund cannot be avoided. But when we talked about transit, before I get to that, when we talked about transit, I recall that from the last, from one of the last hearings, we had people from rural areas. I remember the director of Tennessee Department of Transportation indicated how important transit was to all the counties of Tennessee, and we better not just talk about that as an urban matter. The last authorization, technology was a very small part of our bill or even our discussion. It is a major part of what we have to do if we're serious about our crippled congestion and if we are serious about doing something about it. There are troubling signs of slippage in the skill of our labor pool. We will be having hearings on that matter. The Committee on Ways and Means has already met to discuss the solvency of the Highway Trust Fund. I won't get into that. The debate goes on, but whatever happens with funding, we must do our work to get a bill by 2020 before the American people. Now, I'm going to ask the ranking member to make his opening statement.